Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai haere mai, and welcome to Old Timers Day here at the Petone Recreational Ground for this FJ Tillard Memorial Shield match between these two historic rivals. The Petone Club taking on the Poneke Rugby Club. Petone founded in 1885 and Poneke founded in 1883. And today both clubs are playing for the FJ Tillard Memorial Shield, presented each year to the winner of the game between Poneke and Petone. Last year, Poneke won this game in an almighty thriller, 28 points to 23 at Kilburnie Park. Fred Tillard was the third of four brothers that played for Poneke at senior level in the 1910s and 1920s. He was part of a dynasty where the club went on to win 4 titles, which dominated the competition in the Wellington region. He went on to represent Wellington and New Zealand before retiring and giving back to Poneke as a secretary, being part of the management committee and became a life member in 1947. He passed away in 1954 at the age of 57, and 4 years later, the club's management committee decided to mark Poneke's 75th Jubilee with the presentation of a trophy for competition with Petone, their greatest rivals over in their history. And of course, these two are almighty rivals. They're both bogey teams for each other. And joining me in commentary this afternoon is a Petone junior, a potential prospect for first 15 playing careers in St Bernard's this year, Matthew Fisher. Matthew, an all-important game. Tell us about the curtain raiser and who won that game.
The Premier 2s, Petone won the game. It was a thriller, 25-22, right down to the wire. It was a very good game, actually.
Very good game indeed. Let's look at the rosters for today. Let's start off the home side, Petone. Fullback is TJ Clark. The wings are Leighton Tupper and Stanley Solomon. Midfielders Taylor Henry, Riley Higgins. Captain and first five is Khan Green. Halfback is Cam Ferreira. The flanks are Peter Lakai, Mason Henry and Jared Hurstich. The locks are Jack Ross and Filippo Sapai. And the front row is Alapati Soki, Ryan Emery and Jordan Salui. For Poneke, the Street Kids as they're effectively known as. Fullback in his 100th game this afternoon is Nick Robinson. The wings are Tane, Regaling and Sui Filimoni. Midfielders Caleb Robson and Isaac Moy Jenkins. First five is the talented Carlos Hihi. Halfback is Sam Howling. The flanks are Cole Stewart, Tavita Vatuvai on debut and Callum Smith. The locks are Marmia Tima Schmidt and Ezekiel Fesso. The front row is Reece Reedy, Andrew Jones, the captain. And a late change, Noah Naluval is out with a concussion. So Antonio Vaca comes in. And look at this amazing picture here. This is Nick Robinson. The speed's 100 games and 100 starts for Poneke. Out there with his young child, followed by Captain Andrew Jones, leading on Poneke until Kilburnie Park #1. Our officials this afternoon, Luke Pearce, refereeing his 12th Premier game, will be assisted by the very experienced Scott McLean and Ethan Jefferson. So we await the big crowd here at Petone today, Old Timers Day, followed with lunch around midday. The women played at 11:30, had a comprehensive win. And then at 1 o'clock, all four fields were in action. The Prem Reserves won in the last minute against Poneke. The under-85s played Eastbourne. And the Colts played Poneke in Colts rugby. Fantastic conditions here at Petone Rec. The sun is out, not a breath of wind to speak of. Enhancing by the chair, here comes Cam Ferreira. Now Cam Ferreira is playing his 50th game this afternoon for Petone. His father Jamie was a former coach of the Premier side. Cam himself is a product of Hutt International Boys School. And he'll come out here in this historic match. Khan Green leads out the rest of the Petone faithful. And it will be Poneke kicking to the southern end of Petone Recreational Ground. And Petone to receive the ball. Like a bit of a jersey change there. Stanley Solomon will be wearing 14 instead of 11 as per the program. And Petone blessed with having the services of Riley Higgins for 3 weeks in a row and Peter Larkai for the second week in a row. Probably good reinforcements to have, Matthew, considering the injury toll for Petone at the moment.
Peter Larkai and Riley Higgins are a massive part of the Petone team's success last year, and it's very good to see them, and also it's very inspiring for all the young junior players here because they look at people like Peter and Riley and they aspire to be like them one day.
So the stage is set for this FJ Tillard Memorial Shield match. And who will it be this year? Poneke won it late for a Connor Strang try. And the match is underway. And the ball has been kicked deep into the 22 into the hands of Peter Larkai, who started the season is showing why he was playing for the Hurricanes. And he's made good vital metres there, roughly 6 metres outside the 22. Ferreira gets himself set up, looks for the box kick, kicks it high up into the air, and the Centurion Nick Robertson is underneath it, but allows it to go to touch. But the ball was actually carried back. So a mistake early on by Petone, not what the coaches will be looking for, Matthew.
Early mistake, it's coach killer really. Just back where we started now.
Of course, a lot of blockbuster games on this afternoon, and we'll be bringing you score updates from around the grounds. And there are some big matches indeed. Good line out, well taken there by Callum Smith, who's only playing his second game. He made his debut last week in Poneke's win against Norths. That was their first win of the season for Poneke, winning 39 points to 20. Howling out to midfielder Robinson. Robinson wrapped up quickly by Tupper and Emery. A metre inside the 22. He again a product of Gisborne Boys High School. He was a prefect at Gisborne Boys last year. An early advantage being played here for Poneke. Howling. Looking to try and stretch it out here. Isaac Moy Jenkins brought to ground. 14 in from the eastern touchline. As Matthew's mother is shocked that he's on commentary. She walks past. And we come back for the early penalty. And this will be the first one for the match. And referee Pearce ruled one of those high sternum tackles that they're enforcing this year. So look for Poneke to get early points on the board and look for a shot at goal here, Matthew.
I think Sam Howling's taking the kick. He was a product of Kelston Boys High School in Auckland. Big part of them winning the 1A competition and with the Hurricanes under 20s. He's been performing pretty well this season.
Well, and of course, one of your... he was a former student at St Bernard's College. He actually played for Gisborne too. He's in the Warriors program now. Tell us about who that young man is.
Oh, Jacob Laban. Oh, yeah. So he went up to Kelston Boys High School as well for his final year. He's just playing SG ball, I'm pretty sure, for the Warriors reserve team. He's playing with some really good players up there.
Sam Howling, 40 points in 2023, 4th overall in the Swindale Shield point standings. He made his debut last year against Wainui. This is his 15th game for the Street Kids. Metre outside the 22. 20 in from the grandstand touchline. Howling. Oh, definitely got the distance, but it's swayed away to the left, so the scores will remain 0-0, just short of 3 minutes. And considering not a lot of wind here today, Matthew, that for Howling mainly is a pretty easy kick most of the time.
Yeah, well, I think it's just really unfortunate at that point. I mean, it was pretty much right out in front, but I'm sure he'll correct his mistakes next time. Khan
Green in his 116th game for the Villagers gets play back underway. Straight into the arms of He decides to take it up. And he's knocked the ball on from an excellent tackle from the very small and tiny Stanley Solomon. Very talented player indeed. Here goes the cross kick from Khan Green. Looking to find later Tupper. Bounces just in front of Regaling. But we'll come back for the knock on. And it will be the first scrum of the afternoon. Petone feed. 5 in inside Poneke's territory. 5 in from the eastern touchline. So you've got a score update from one of the grounds, Matthew, so far.
Early score for Tawa against Wainu Yamada. Scores 5-0 at the moment.
And what are the rest of the games on this Saturday?
A big game, actually. Hutt Old Boys versus Parramatta Plymouth. Parramatta Plymouth have been very surprising as of recently. And also Johnsonville versus Oriental Rongotai. I'd say that's one of the games of the round. Johnsonville's been very convincing.
Well, the Hawks, they're on fire. They're flying high at the moment. And here we go. Cam Ferreira in his 50th appearance to feed the first scrum of the afternoon. But referee Pearce has blown a reset. Also another big game on this afternoon at Rugby League Park is Old Boys University against Marist St. Pat's. That's also on Te Puka o Te Ika Radio. If you ever want to go and listen to that, iHeart Radio, 1161 AM. Regular supporters of the Huri Hui here to Whānau Footy Show. 2021, these two teams met in an impressive Hardham Cup final that went into extra time. And Poneke were literally hanging on, players falling down with cramp, and they won the game 32 points to 24. Here goes Riley Higgins. He's been kept quiet for the last 2 weeks. Gives it out to TJ Clark. He looks for the dummy. Gives it out to Higgins. Higgins manages to hold on to the ball. Offloads it to Mason Henry. And Henry will sail under the post and score the first try of the match. 5-0 Petone.
Wonderful try. That's just what Riley Higgins can do. And Mason Henry as well, going from wing to number 7. It's so far it's been a great transition for him as of right now. And also TJ Clark's been a standout this year.
Excellent work there by TJ Clark, but in particular Riley Higgins managing to juggle that ball and keep possession of it. Noticing a gap in the Poneke defence and passing it off to Mason Henry, the brother of Logan and Taylor Henry. Of course, Logan, the Hurricane, is on the bench this afternoon, and Taylor starting in the 12 jersey. The conversion by Green is successful, so score after 6 minutes is 7-0. In favour of the home side, Petone. And so Poneke, they'll definitely want to be very careful there, Matthew, particularly on their backline defence. A very young backline for Poneke this afternoon.
A lot of college leavers, actually. But speaking of our backline, we got the number 15. I'm not too sure on his name, but I heard it's his 100th game this year. Oh, Nick Robertson. Yeah, good on him.
Nick Robinson, 100 starts as well and 100 games for Nick Robinson. A loyal servant. Even the Mayor of Timaru will be watching this game this afternoon, seeing Poneke take on Petone. Andy Williams, who definitely will be listening to this broadcast. Peter Larkai gets the ball from the restart. 2 metres outside the 22. Fires it back into Jordan Salui. And Ferreira into the hands of Green. Green decides to go for a run. Andrew Jones is opposite the captain. Manages to slow him down. Ferreira looks, finds the safe hands off Peter Larkai. He decides to go for a run, but he's been brought down a metre short of the 22. Centre field. Khan Green this time decides to put the high. Gary Owing up. Running into it is Regaling. And a good contest there, but the knock-on has been occurred there, but that time by Petone. And Howling, sliding feet, sandwiched between Green and Henry in the tackle. Cole Stewart in his 114th game, a loyal workhorse. He's been out for the last 2 seasons. A few injuries. Good to see him back out there as Cole Stewart made his debut in 2021 against Oriental Rongotai, which, ironically, in 2020 was the same team he played as 100th in. Poneke wrestling forward. Offside advantage being played here for Poneke. Ryan Emery has managed to steal the ball, but it's rolled back in favour of Poneke. Petone defence is really swarming, looking to hold him up. Question is whether they're still under that penalty advantage. He looks, finds a gap. Here comes the Centurion Robinson, but Solomon's there, and he watches it guide over the dead ball line, and we'll come back for second penalty of the match. This one virtually in the same part of the field where Howling went for a shot at goal last time. And the tee's been run out there by Evan Belford, so Howling for another shot at goal here, Matthew.
Yeah, I'd say he'd get it, but a little score update. Old Boys University leading 3-0 over Marist St. Pat's. And, yeah, hopefully he corrects the mistake this time.
Sam Howling was also part of the Hurricanes under-20s campaign and the Bunnings under-20s back in March. A good campaign for the Hurricanes. Went down in the final to a very talented Blues team. Healthy crowd here at Petone Recreational Ground for Old Timers Day. This time the kick has more accuracy, and so the score has narrowed down to 7-3 in favour of the home side Petone. Roughly 10 minutes gone in the first half. The Huddy Sports broadcast bringing you this live stream this afternoon. Privileged to work with Petone on all their home games this season. Of course, big win over Norths in round 1, winning 41 points to 3. And then against Old Boys University, and what was quite a niggly match, Matthew. They went down 13-10, which was a game of two halves, really. The team that had the wind behind them didn't actually do anything with the ball that day.
Yeah, well, it definitely was a game of two halves. Petone came out guns blazing in the first half, but then, I don't know, the energy just sapped in the second half, but, you know, they can correct that mistake today. Hopefully they don't go on a 3-game losing streak.
Leighton Tupper takes the ball towards the 10-metre mark. 15 in from the grandstand touchline. And Ferreira fires it out to Sir Louis. His 5th game for Petone this afternoon. Made his debut against Northern United. Here's Higgins, finds Hurstich. He's got Emery and Tupper to his left. He decides to take it into contact. He's got to be 2 metres short of Poneke's 22. Ferreira out to Elapatisoki, who's back from injury. Here goes Peter Lako! He cuts them open, and Peter Lako will score the second try for the Villagers. The score now 12-3, Matthew.
Well, exactly what Peter Laka can do. That's what he's been doing for the Wellington team.
For the Villagers, the score now 12-3, Matthew.
Well, wonderful finish.
The Villagers were not entirely sure if they were going to have the services of Peter Larkai for much of this season, particularly early rounds of Super Rugby. He was on the bench and started a few games, but they've had the lucky advantage of having him for the last 2 weeks. And of course, he's gone over to score his 6th try for the Villagers in his 19th game. And here's the thing, Matthew, he's actually a very young player. He was a young year 13, 2020, and he's in his 2nd year in the New Zealand under-20s. That is how talented Peter Larkai is at such a young age.
Well, they are already making comparisons to Adi Savia, which is fairly correct. But, I mean, let's just see how his career pans out. Hopefully it's a good one.
Khan Green's conversion is unsuccessful, so the score will remain 12-3 after 12.5 minutes here at the Petone Recreational Ground. And, of course, here's an interesting fact for our viewers. In last year's game, compared to this year's game, both teams are missing 13 players from their last year's 22. Just shows you how injuries and change of players drastically changes within a year of club rugby. Good take there at the restart by Petone. Been very good at the restart so far this season, have the Villagers. Ferreira. Well, he absolutely shanks that one. And it's been knocked backwards by a Petone player, but Poneke have got the ball, and here they go. What can they do with this ball? It's a messy pass, but it's been picked up by Moy Jenkins. Out to Robinson, but Higgins manages to hold him down. Metre shorted to the 22. Poneke with a rare attacking opportunity. Good pressure at the ruck there by Petone. Hihi out to Antonio Vaca, product of St. Pat's Town. And it's another penalty here against the Villagers. This time, hands in the ruck as they were off their feet. And Evan Belford, club legend, is walking out with that kicking tee again, Matthew.
I think it's pretty justified to take the 3 points. It's definitely going to be a close game today. One player that viewers should look out for, Maya Tima Schmidt, product of Scots College. I think he was in the first 15 for about 4 years, and in the Moana Pacifica under-20s. Great player.
You're spot on there, Matthew. 4 years in the Scots College first 15. Debuted as a year 10. Played over 50 games for Scots College. So Sam Howling with the penalty attempt. 1 from 2 so far. Been an interesting factor here, Matthew, is that all those last 3 penalties have been around this very same area of the field.
I was going to say it's ref biasy, but we're live, and I'm not being biased.
You have to behave yourself today, Matthew. You know. Got told off by the referee coach 2 weeks ago.
Oh, in the very same spot as well.
Howling straight down the middle. 12-6 is the score. So Poneke keeping himself in the hunt. And let's have a look at some of the scores around the grounds, Matthew.
A bit of updates for the scores. Tawa's now leading 10-0 against Wainuiomata. Old Boys University up 15-0 against Marist St. Pat's. And Avalon and Wellington are drawing 7-all. Oh, and Johnsonville beating Rongotai. Oh, Oris.
Oriental Rongotai, Matthew, 7-0. Restart taken by Stewart, but they're going to have to relieve his knees are hit the ground. Howling back to Carlos Hihi. Kicks it straight down into the hands of TJ Clark. Clark centre field. Car Green has been hit by the ray of sun. It must have been Mitchell Salville's coffee he had before the game. And Car Green not happy with that one. And so a scrum here for Poneke, centre field. And this is their first attacking scrum of the afternoon, Matthew.
Well, I mean, rare mistake from Khan Green. He's definitely a class player, but yeah, that ball was just up in the air too long, I reckon.
So last weekend, Poneke were trailing Norths at half-time, but ran away with it in the second half with a big win. So a massive scrum here. Petone put on the shunt. Poneke managing to keep control of the ball. Has Hurstich come off early? He has. And a penalty here as referee Pearce has found Hurstich coming off early, and Evan Belford running out that kicking tee again. This one directly in front of the post, Matthew.
Oh, I think the game plan for Poneke, just to get the penalty and kick it out in front. Well, I mean, it's working thus far.
Well, they like to slow the game down to their advantage and draw the enemy in. And so that's what Petone just has to be aware of. 12-6 is the score, 17 minutes gone here at Old Timers Day at the recreational ground here at Petone. Sun is out, good autumn conditions.
Beautiful day, eh?
Not too cold at all. It's Howling. Two from 3 in his penalty attempts so far this afternoon. There's one. Another easy, straightforward kick for Howling. So the scores have narrowed. It's now a 3-point lead to Petone. 12-9 is the score. 18 minutes gone here in the first half of this Fred J. Tilliard Memorial Shield match. Khan Green, it's play back underway with a good restart. Taken again by Stewart, who jumps up on the ball and secures it well for the Street Kids. Howling fires it deep into the 22 to he has a quick think and change. He nearly got charged down there by Ryan Emery. Tupper has potentially knocked that ball on, but a call was come through the sideline as the Poneke players were offside when that kick went through from Hihi. So Petone, not well known for taking penalties this season. Only 7 penalties in the opening 5 rounds of club rugby. And It's going to be a shot at goal. And here comes TJ Clark to take the shot at goal. Promising player in his 13th game this afternoon. Debuted in 2021 against Huddle Boys Marist. And 22 points this season. All together in his career, I mean. 2 tries, 3 conversions, and 3 penalties as TJ Clark. His brother Sam is on the bench for Parramatta Plymouton today, as they travelling out to the Hut Recreational Ground to take on Huddle Boys Marist, who have only had 1 win this season. Have the Eagles. So, blockbuster there at the Hut Rec, as well as here as well. Cam Ferreira indicated a shot at goal, and TJ Clark gets the 3 points, and the score now 15 points to 9. Matthew, score updates from around the grounds.
OBU now leading 22-0 against Marist St. Pat's. Tawa up 12-0 against Wainui Armada. Avalon and Wellington still 7-7. And Oriental Rongotai still 0. Oh, sorry. Johnsonville 7-0 up against Orange.
Larkite taking the ball again from the restart. Comes out to Khan Green. TJ Clark. Hey, charged down by Caleb Robinson. It's a juggle. Andrew Jones has the ball. He passes it out to Reeling. He can't get it. He slips. Henry chasing after him. There's an advantage being played. And that will be for a knock on. So, escalation of the tension levels here at the Rec as the Villagers that time, Matthew, were in 6s and 7s.
I'm nervous for the Villagers. Being Petone supporter myself, but can't get too crazy. Not like I usually would.
So, great set piece here for Poneke. Scrum 12 metres away from the try line. Southern end, Petone Recreational Ground. 15-9 is the score. Petone ahead of Poneke. Solid and Howling finds he sent a feel good charge by Caleb Robinson, and he's been dumped to the ground, but there's going to be an advantage here. Another penalty advantage, but Tony going to have to be very careful of their discipline. Penalties starting to mount up against them. Jones receives the ball from Robson. Robson, of course, is the son of Toby Robson, former writer back in the Dominion Post days, now is assistant coach of Poneke. Played his club rugby for Wests. Period of time there where the Western Roosters were pretty strong in Wellington club rugby days. Robertson wrapped up by Herstich. Since the calm comes around the ground, Robson again brought down 6 short of the line. Jones. Slow, patient build-up here by Poneke. Loose ball to the safe hands of Callum Smith, who on debut played a full 80 last week. Here goes Robertson again. Good offload to Moy Jenkins. He looks to try and offload it himself, but the ball's come loose. And referee Pearce going to put blow to proceedings. And it's going to be a penalty here for another one of those high tackles. And it's going to be time off here because a number of penalties have started to escalate down here inside what they call the red zone, Matthew.
You never like it when the ref double blows the whistle. I think one more high tackle, or even one more penalty, Villagers might have someone in the bin.
So the warning has been given to Green, and that was for that tip tackle we saw before. It was a very, very long advantage. And flag of Ethan Jefferson on the grandstand touchline indicates the line out for Poneke, roughly about 8 metres away from the line. Throw, well taken by Fiso. And Petone get back onto the attack. They take it out to the back line. Robson offloads it. It's good here from Howling as they look to go to the left. Good possession with the ball here. And Petone have to be very careful. They've been given a warning by referee Pearce already. Here goes he out to Regaling. Poneke here being pushed back. Moy Jenkins with a high pass over the top to Philemoni. He has a darting run. Here goes Moy Jenkins into the corner. And Poneke have their first try of the afternoon, and that was a great patient build-up there by Poneke. And Moy Jenkins, Matthew, straight into that corner.
Little missed tackle by Stanley Solomon, and then TJ Clark just couldn't clean up. But no, that was definitely a good try. Poneke back in it.
So 15-14 is the score. 23 minutes gone here at Petone Recreational Ground. Conversion to come. This just outside the eastern touchline. Right on the 22. So a tough kick here for Sam Howling. Isaac Moy Jenkins, product of St. Pat's Town. His parents are Kevin and Sylvia, club legends at Poneke. It's his 18th try in the colours of Poneke this afternoon. Howling, kick's got the distance, but it sways away to the left. So the score will remain 15-14. 1 point lead for Petone ahead of Poneke. Roughly 23 minutes gone, and some score updates around the grounds, Matthew.
Avalon now leading the Wellington Axemen 14-7. Old Boys University still up 22-0 over Mara St. Pat's. Johnsonville 21-0 over Oriental Rongotai. Tawa now 24-3 against Wanui Amata, and no scores for the Hutt Old Boys versus Paraplim or Northern United versus Upper Hutt game.
We're really into a tight tussle here at the Petone Recreational Ground. Well taken there by Cole Stewart again. The restarts by both teams have been outstanding, but it's been turned over by Jack Ross, and Ryan Emery passes the ball out to Leighton Tupper. Tupper dragged to the ground. 2 out. Loose ball. Higgins getting into a bit of scuffle with Robinson on the ground. Play on is the call. And Higgins at halfback gives it out to Larkai. Larkai, they swarm around him quickly. Any space, and he can lunge straight over it. Petone secure the ball. Khan Green back at halfback. Higgins tries to kick it through, but it's been kicked down by a Poneke player. Bit of a juggle there by Henry. But the ball's been secured, it's been loose, and here goes the run by Reese Riley. He passes out of wide. Moy Jenkins has the ball, he advances over halfway, and he looks to offload, but he's taken it to ground. 2 metres short of Petone's 10-metre mark. The Street Kids building up nicely here. A good cross kick, but Leighton Tupper all the time in the world there. That time there, the tackle from Regaling was one of those slip tackles, so an advantage has been played here. Khan Green manages to fend off Marmir Tima Schmidt. Larkai loose ball out to Alapati Soki. He manages to tidy up, but will come back for the penalty. And so Petone will be grateful to have a relieving penalty there, Matthew, because Poneke have been starving him of possession lately.
We're definitely on the back foot. It's a bloody tough game. The Poneke people are really bringing it to us right now.
It's good to know their people, Matthew, as the ball has been kicked into touch. Metre inside Poneke's half, right in front of our commentary position here in the grandstand. Score is 15-14. It's a 1 point match so far here at the Petone Recreational Ground. Well taken at the line-out time that there by Sapaya. Midfield, Herstich. Pass out to Henry. And Higgins has the ball, looks to pass, it's flat out to Stanley Solomon. He kicks it in field. Has he got enough pace? He could race after this and score! Magic! Absolute magic from Stanley Solomon. He followed up his own kick. He only had Carlos Hihi. And he managed to swarm behind him and scored a great try there for Petone. 20 points to 14.
Wonderful try there by Stanley Solomon. That's exactly what he does. First year coming out of college, already in the Premier team. New Zealand schoolboys, if I'm not mistaken, and product of Wellington College. Class player.
Oh, Stanley. New Zealand schoolboys last year. Really making an impact here out at Petone. We do have to say nice things about Stanley because his mother's watching this afternoon. Mother Erin Rush at Blackfern, and also in charge of the Centurions here in Wellington. So the conversion attempt, 5 in from the eastern touchline, just outside the northern 22. And Clark, good healthy distance, and it's successful. Excellent kick on a difficult angle there. And the score now, 22 points to 14, with roughly about 10 minutes to go in the first half.
This is a great first half. It was full of a lot of action.
Well, it was an entertaining game last year at Kilbirnie Park, and it's living up to the hype. And of course, last year, that was the only loss Petone had in the Swindale Shield last year, Matthew, and it was the week after McBain. Many people remember that McBain moment, that try.
Oh, I'll tell you what, hugging my mum, just so happy, screaming at the top of my lungs. It was one of the best moments, probably the best moment I've seen at the Rec.
The kick downfield straight into Robinson. Carlos Hihi kicks downfield, promising talent from Gisborne. Ben O'Brien Leaf, a local commentator up there, contacted me during the week as Wellington College played Gisborne in the Transit Coach Lines Festival today. Kick has gone into touch, and so a line out here for Poneke. 10 out from the 22 on the southern end of the recreational ground. Throw's been overthrown and picked up by Cam Ferreira. Passes at midfield to Henry. And Mason Henry, who's making the 7 jersey his own this year. Mostly played last year on the wing in the midfield for Petone due to a bit of injury crisis. They had midfield, but he did very well last year. Khan Green finds some open passes there. Stanley Solomon again. Manages nearly to hang on the ball that time there. Carlos here, he did well, but he manages to force the knock on. And so Poneke, a bit nervous at the back there, Matthew.
Oh, that's very unlucky for Stanley not to grab that ball. But on the point of Mason Henry, he was definitely our he was one of our top players for Petone's team last year. He's very exciting for this young Petone team.
So late change here, just a quick change here by Poneke as Tane Riegling has come off. He very quickly indicated to the reserve bench he needed to come off. So we'll do our best to see there whether that is an actual substitution or is it's for blood bin. We'll double check and see if that is the case. But jersey 22 has come onto the field. Afeni Nibicheku, product of Scots College, playing his 4th game this afternoon for the Street Kids. Made his debut last year against Tawa. As we just have a bit of net forensics analysis in the front row of the scrum. We get back to the reset. Referee Pearce has changed sides. About 6 minutes to go. The score 22 points to 14, and what has been a very lively first half in this FJ Tillard Memorial Shield match. Good scrum for Poneke, solid platform. Here comes the high Gary Owen. Underneath it is Leighton Tupper. Bounces Jiggly. The kick being come through. Chasing after it is Moy Jenkins, and it's been kicked into touch inside the 22. So Leighton Tupper mainly pretty good under the ball, but that time there having to turn his back, Matthew, and getting himself caught in an awkward position, which saw Poneke kick that ball through.
It's a very packed crowd here at the Rick, so he might have a little bit of jitters actually, because it's just filling up right now, the grandstand.
Well, it was also the start of junior rugby today, so good to see all the young kids out there playing their early morning rugby. Ball's been overthrown by Emery. It's been picked up there by Taylor Henry, so they've managed to secure the ball, but the Villagers are disrupting. Khan Green gets the ball back in the end goal, kicks it downfield. It will bounce straight in front of Philemoni. He passes out to Nibi Cheku, who kicks it downfield. He's got a good punt on it. It's an excellent kick there. Khan Green has got Stanley Solomon to his right. He decides to kick straight down into Carlos Hehe. He'll decide to kick back. Chasing back after it is TJ Clark. He manages to secure the ball. He's got plenty of time and space. And he'll just allow this to safely go into touch to bring an end to the game of force back. And so Poneke will have the line out, 2 metres inside Petone's territory in the eastern touchline. Let's have some scores updates from around the grounds, Matthew.
Avalon still leading 14-7 against Wellington. I think both teams are looking for their first win of the season. Marist St. Pat's now on the board, but still down 22-7 against OBU. Oriental Rongotai still down 12-21 against Johnsonville. And Towers now extended their lead to 31-3 against Wainui.
Successful line out for Poneke. Good charge by Ezekiel Fiso. Howling into Tavita Vatuva on his debut. He's earned his debut this afternoon after strong performances for the Prem Reserves in the last 4 weeks. Higgins looks to hold up Carlos Hehe, but the ball has come loose and still in favour of the Street Kids. Marmia Tima Schmidt wrapped up just short of the 10-metre mark. The call of discipline comes through the ranks of the Villagers. Robson out to Robinson. Robinson gets around the first tackler. Here goes Andrew Jones. Good charging run there by the hooker. He's going to be brought down 10 metres inside Tony's 22, but the ball has come loose. It's been knocked on, and Cam Ferreira boxes right down the field, right past halfway. Chasing back after it is Moy Jenkins. Plenty of time as Cam Ferreira follows up his own kick. Jenkins passes it in midfield. He looks to chip it over the top. Pleas for a penalty. It's in the hands of Emery, and play on is the call. TJ Clark kicks down. There's no one back there. Having to chase back for Poneke. Carlos Hehe gets back there just in time, and he'll kick this ball towards Cam Ferreira, who manages to keep it in and going into touch. TJ Clark, high long pass out to Stanley Solomon as he puts on the skip and the bounce, and he goes for a run. He gets around. Oh, he manages to nearly get round the defender. The tackle of Andrew Jones, who managed to scrag him enough into touch. And so it's going to be a line out for Poneke. 4 metres inside their own half with roughly about just under 2 minutes to go. The score is 22 points to 14. The scoreboard clock did stop here for a few minutes. Smith does well at the line out. Nibi Cheku. Good tackle by Emery, and it's been knocked on, and Petone have the ball back. Jack Ross out to Henry. Henry, high pass out to the wing of Leighton Tupper. This time he skips, takes the ball inside field. He's going to be brought down a metre short of the 22. Ferreira surveys at the base. Khan Green, high pass out to Ryan Emery. Emery, Tysize to take it into tackle. There's advantage being played here against Poneke. Ferreira, that's a Lako. Lako breaks. Lako's going to score. Second try for Petone. Brilliant. Breaking that first line and going over and scoring. Second try for Petone. Brilliant. Breaking that. A hint there, Matthew. Why? He's a Super Rugby player.
Well, he's just a class player, isn't he? He's even in the from when we first noticed him in the 2020 St. Pat's Stream versus Scots final. He was one of the standouts, as well as Riley Higgins. So he's definitely going to be in Super Rugby anytime soon. Hopefully next week in the squad.
Well, next week a difficult assignment. They're off to Suva, Fiji, to take on the Fijian Druid, the Hurricanes. Good conversion there by TJ Clark. 29 points to 14. The home side extend their lead. And with minutes remaining left in this first half, let's see what some of the scores are in the dying moments of the first half around there, Matthew.
Avalon still up 14-7 against Wellington Axemen. Old Boys University up 25-7 against Marist St. Pat's. Johnsonville still leading Oriental Rongotai 21-12. And Towers still leading Wainuiomata 31-3.
Nice scoring afternoon of Club Rugby round 5 of the Swindale Shield. Restart by Poneke, goes high. Knocked on that time by Petone. And referee Pearce has blown half-time. And that's a pretty comprehensive first half, particularly that last 10 minutes there for Petone. Matthew, as they go into the half-time break, 29 points to 14.
That's definitely a very good into the first half, especially with the lead that they have now. But Poneke is still very dangerous. Even their subs, like number 22, excuse my pronunciation, I might be wrong, but Efine Nibachiku Tonu, he's definitely a very class player. He was also in that winning 2020 Scots Premiership final side, and he was playing number 10. He's definitely very dangerous on the ball.
So half-time, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
should have been free. The guy said I was held up. So I went over the line, I put it down and I bounced up with the guy said, yeah.
Welcome back to Petone Recreational Ground. Half time is coming to an end. 29 points to 14. The home side, Petone, ahead of Poneke in this FJ Tillard Memorial Shield match. And Matthew, it's been a high scoring affair, in particular for the middle stage of that first half there. Petone were under a bit of pressure there from Poneke.
We've definitely ran away with it in the last 10 minutes, but that from the 20-minute mark to the 30-minute mark, it was definitely a very tight affair. But yeah, it's definitely a close game. But I don't think the score really reflects the performance that Poneke have put on right now. They're definitely playing a lot better than most would expect.
Well, one of the advantages for Poneke is they've had a lot of possession in territory, and they're in a very good unified huddle here at the moment, as the messages have been delivered by their coaching staff of Reg Goods and Toby Robson. Reg Goods, of course, himself a former Hurricane and Lion, made the transition to coaching. Had a very good first season last year with the Poneke Premier side. I think he has his wealth of experience and knowledge. So changes on the field for Poneke. Pasi Tuva'a is on the field, playing his third game this afternoon. We'll do our best to find out who the player that he has substituted is. Second half is underway, and it's Petone kicking down to the southern end of Petone Recreational Ground, and Howling's kick has gone into touch, and it's going to be a line out here for Petone, roughly about 15 metres away from Poneke's 22. And some scores around half-time. Matthew, what were the scores half-time in the other grounds?
Avalon at half-time have run away with it, 26-7 against the Wellington Axemen. At half-time, OBU have a 25-7 lead over Mara St. Pat's. The start of the second half, Johnsonville's still up 21-12 against Oriental Rongotai, and Tau have extended their lead to 36-3 against Wainuiomata.
Good take by Henry at the line out. It comes out to his brother, Taylor Henry. Manages to break the first tackle and being brought down. 6 short of the 22. Khan Green juggles. Ball comes out to Sapphire. Good hit there by Caleb Robson. But unfortunately, referee Pearce has labelled that a high tackle. So advantage has been played here. Good shunt that time there by TJ Clark. And there's just a bit of handbags being displayed here, and a quick tap on the back. As referee Pearce puts quick stop to proceedings. And assistant referee Scott McLean has marched in roughly about 10 metres into the field of play. Been known as the Vern Troyer of the Referees Association, Scott McLean, a regular contributor to Club Rugby website. So referee Pearce is calling over Andrew Jones and Mamia Tima Schmidt, as he signalled 5 with his hands. Jersey 22 for Petone coming onto the field, Lester Malolo. Just go and see who he's going to be replacing, and that is going to be a yellow card for Mamia Tima-Schmidt. Not what Poneke needed at the start of the second half, Matthew.
That's possibly the worst start they could have to the second half, especially a class player like Tima-Schmidt. But let's see how they respond to this. And obviously Lester Malolo comes on. Very, very good player. He's definitely been missed in this Petone side the last couple of weeks.
It looks like it's Taylor Henry's afternoon over. Not too bad for Taylor Henry in the midfield. Hasn't got a lot of starting time, but he did well there, Matthew, in that first half.
Definitely, he did the job properly.
Sapaya had to knock the ball on, but referee Pearson said it's gone backwards. So Bulls with Hurstich. He decides to take it into contact. Met there by Andrew Jones. They wrestle forward. They're only 5 away from the chalk now, the Villagers. Emery driven back. Good driving tackle that time there by Andrew Jones. And it's been turned over. Excellent work by Poneke on defence. And Howling fires it back. Robson puts the high Gary Owen up into the air. And Khan Green surveys. He's got Larkai, but he gives it out to Mason Henry. Henry, good run, measures the drag. 2 Poneke players with him. He's a metre short of the 22. Ferreira fires it out to Alapatisoki. Green. Good pass out to Riley Higgins. Excellent vision there by Khan Green as he puts on his best outrage of a moment. And that is excellent work by Khan Green, and the great pass out to vision there by Khan Green as he puts on his best outrage of a moment. And that is excellent work by Khan Green, and the great
He's also implemented running into his game, but that was a great ball by Khan Green and a great line ran by Riley Higgins. That's exactly what Petone needed, and they need to put the points on while they have 14 in the bin for Poneke.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Villagers right at the start. Second half. Poneke down to 14 men. That's now the third time that the Poneke backline has been split open, Matthew. 2 tries to Peter Larko in the first half, but that time there, Khan Green managing to use the talents of Riley Higgins to great effect. And here comes the conversion from TJ Clark, and that is successful. And so the score now is 36 points to 14.
I do definitely think that Poneke's defense they've been very good from time to time, but I think it's just moments like that where they just get caught sleeping on the line. But obviously, when you have someone like Peter Larko or Riley Higgins running at you, I wouldn't want to be tackling them.
So the restart, well taken by Petone. Good take here into the 22. Carlos Hihi chasing back after it. Kicks this ball into touch. It's coming directly towards the old-timers in the grandstand, just fall short of the railing. And so it'll be a line out for Petone, 9 metres inside Poneke's half. Grandstand touchline. 36 points to 14. That's the score we have here, and so does Tribe. The grandstand just taken off the extra point, but take it back to 36. The throw, that time there by Emery, was not straight. Tony Bench not thinking so, but the officials have ruled it not straight. So a scrum here for Poneke. 15 in from the grandstand touchline, 9 metres inside their own half. They are down to only 7 in their scrum. With Mamia Tima-Schmidt in the bin. Knee on the ground there by Jordan Salui. Not getting his balance there, so it'll be a restart for the scrum. Pasi Tuva'a has replaced the debutant Tavita Vatuvai at half-time. That was the replacement for Poneke. Switching change here. There's a Epi Cheku is at first receiver here, Matthew. He's definitely taking a more onerous position at the first receiver. They're under pressure at scrum time there with Poneke, but they managed to keep the ball on to keep the ball in. And Robertson keeping the ball in. His advantage being played here as it's one of those slide tackles. Drifted up. Cole Stewart wrestled to ground. Free away from the 10-metre mark. Ipacheku. Big, tall fella this guy is. He's really growing in stature since his days at college. Robson fires it out. It's split Hihi and Filimoni in two. Coming back to the penalty on the far side, back on the grandstand touchline. Referee Pierce runs all the way back to the other side. Another high tackle. We've seen plenty of those this afternoon, Matthew, high tackles, and but most of them really are just around what they call the sternum line, which of course something you're going to see in secondary school rugby a lot this year. Yeah, well, I think they just really need to reevaluate what they consider a high tackle, because to me that didn't really look like one. It went up a little bit, but nothing too dangerous. But yeah, I mean, the ref's the one that calls it. More substitutions here. Sam Tunisi is coming on for Petone, jersey 17. Patch Sitagata coming on for Poneke. So there's Antonio Vaca's afternoon come to an end. Played as Prem Reserve rugby for Old Boys University until he moved out to Kilbirnie Park, 2021. Here goes Poneke. Robson manages to bounce off the hard-hitting tackle from Jared Hurstich. Ipacheku. Scary lift of the leg, but he's been brought to ground safely. The ball that time knocked on by Cole Stewart. So, uncharacteristic mistake by Cole Stewart, and so it's got to be a scrum here for Petone. 15 metres outside their 22, centre field. 49 minutes gone, the score 36-14. Petone ahead of Poneke. Let's have some score updates from around the grounds. Avalon now extending their score 31-14 against Wellington Axemen. Mara St. Pat's coming back 14-26 against OBU, and Johnsonville still holding out a decent lead against Orient Orongatai 24-12, and Tawa still leading Wainui Amata 43-3. Well, the Hawks last week got out to a hiss and a roar against Mara St. Pat's and managed to only just hang on as Mara St. Pat's managed to get a draw against Johnsonville last week. So can the Hawks hold on against the Magpies? Back here at the Rec, it's Khan Green kicking the ball directly down the field. Chasing back after it is Carlos Hihi. He's got Robinson if he needs him, but he decides to kick the ball, and he'll kick this safely into touch directly in front of Evan Belford, who's standing right next by the FJ Tillard Shield. He definitely doesn't want to see that stay here at the Rec. He wants to take it back. At the moment, the victory's currently in favour of the Villagers, 36-14. Half an hour left in this round 5 match of the Swindale Shield. Emery's throw, that time over, thrown again, and Andrew Jones chasing back after it. Ipacheku. Good run this time here by Tuva'a. And here goes Andrew Jones. This is promising from Poneke. Great run from Andrew Jones, the captain. And Emery gets over the top of the ball. Has he got the ball? No, it's still there for Poneke. Robson runs into Henry. And he's going to be brought down 10 short of the 22. Tuva'a again. A metre short of the 22. This is good enterprising play here from Poneke. Still a man down in the bin. Here they go. Robson, the Centurion, wrestles. An advantage has been played here for Poneke. Cole Stewart again, but Tony really been tested here now. 6 away from the line. Howling, darts, goes, slips off the tackle, Salui. And Petone looked to hold him up. He brought down 4 short of the line. Here goes a charge here by Cole Stewart again. They're a metre short of the line. Ball's been knocked backwards. Ipacheku lunges short of the chalk. No advantage as referee Pearce comes back for the penalty. And offside is the call. Now, for the sake of Poneke here, really should go and kick to touch or put a scrum down here, Matthew.
They're still down a player, and I think if they get a try here, that will be a very good indication for what could happen in this match, because they definitely can still come back. There's still quite a bit of time left, but if Petone just keep their defensive habits how they have been the whole game, then I'd say that Petone can get this one done.
Well, Mamia Tima Schmidt is back on the field. His 10 minutes has come to an end, but also 2 substitutions here for Petone. It's going to be Logan Henry coming onto the field. And so Khan Green's afternoon has come to an end. So look here to see TJ Clark move into the first 5 position. And also coming onto the paddock as well as Ben Kershaw. He's replacing Jordan Salui. Ben Kershaw, a product of St. Patrick's College Silver Stream, made his debut against OBU 2 weeks ago. Only back in 2020 was Ben Kershaw only playing for the third 15. A good line out secured here by the Street Kids, and they put the ball into quarantine and they look to charge it for. This is what Poneke know. This is what they can do best. Can they get over the line? They're charging for Petone, holding them out for now. Reaching in. The ball comes out and it's been wrapped up. Oh, this could be battle stations here for Petone. Doesn't appear to be an advantage being played. Here goes He. Passes out to Moy Jenkins. Moy Jenkins fends off. Offloads out to Robson. And Robson scores. It is 100th game for the Street Kids. And that's excellent patience there by Poneke, Matthew.
Well, that's a great try. They just built into it very well. And Nick Robson on his 100th game, I bet that one's going to be one of the sweetest ones he's scored.
His 65th try. And the red and black colours of Poneke for Nick Robertson. And Sam Howling with the conversion attempt, a metre in from the grandstand touchline, just outside the 22. 3 penalties to his name this afternoon. So 54 minutes gone. It's the game's still alive, Matthew, even though the score is 36-19.
It is anyone's game at the moment. Poneke definitely, they have the players to come back. Obviously, they've got their young players and then they got their old heads, but... Oh, you get it?
Good conversion.
Great kick.
36 points to 21.
But, you know, they definitely do have the skill set to come back, but I think Sam Howling's just come off, actually.
Yes, that's his afternoon, and he's been replaced by the very experienced Jimmy Lee Hongara, who's coming out for his 89th game for Poneke this afternoon. Another product of Gisborne Boys High School is Jimmy Lee Hongara. TJ Clark goes for the high short restart, and well taken there by Stewart. He's been excellent at the restarts, has Cole Stewart this afternoon. Real workhorse for the Street Kids. He passes it out. Rush pass up to Ipacheku. And Larkai drives them back. Robson managing to keep the ball and slammed by Ben Kershaw into the turf. Hongara looks to kick. And that has gone into touch, and unfortunately Scott McLean got himself into a bit of a pickle there. Didn't know which way the ball went. But he's got the flag up now, and it's going to be a line out for Petone. 12 metres inside Poneke's half. Right in front of the grandstand. here on Old Timers Day. The only game on Petone Rec, they had all their games playing on at 1 o'clock, 4 games on the 4 fields. The women played at 11:30. Good fend, Cole Stewart on TJ Clark. That there, folks, is 114 games of experience right there by Cole Stewart. And just showing he's been playing since 2011 and he's got no signs of slowing down just yet. Hongara, Petone crash through, but Poneke still keep control of the ball. Timashma, loose ball, Tanesi chasing after it. Looks to kick it out of the hands, but Nebichiku does well, secures it for Poneke. Robson, back out to Tuva'a. Loose ball there, this is promising here for Poneke. Loving to speed up this game to favour them. Robson being held up by Henry and co. They take it towards the touchline.
Nice. Bargy.
Not what is needed. The game has been played in pretty good spirits.
Might want to move the shield there.
Dylan Williamson does the good thing and keeps the shield safe.
I wouldn't want to be annoying Alapati there.
Well, not what is needed in the game. And in particular here, I think Scott McLean will be heavily involved in this decision because
they look pretty bad.
Well, at least no punches were thrown, but I think there will be a discussion given here for both captains, but we'll just await the verdict of the officials. And while we're doing that, let's have some score updates from around the grounds, Matthew.
Avalon have extended their score even more. 33-14 against the Wellington Axemen, looking to get their first win of the season. OBU leading Mara St. Pat's 28-14 still. And Johnsonville, their lead has been cut short a little bit by Oriental Rongotai, but still lead 24-19. And Tawa, obviously, still winning. And they've extended their lead 48-3 against Waitanui Armada.
Well, Jared Hurstich has taken over the captaincy here, and Alapati Soki has been called over.
Might be a card here, I think. I think it might just...
The problem here for Alapati is that he came in and probably dragged a player away, which probably did escalate the situation.
Yeah.
And developed it further.
I think it might just be a little warning. Yeah.
Well, I think they consider themselves lucky there, Petone, but it's going to be a penalty here for Poneke. Much to the displeasure of the crowd, but excellent officiating by the officials, the referee team. Scott McLean helping out Luke Pearce there. And that's good officiating. And if you are needed to think about refereeing, give 0800 referee a go. You know, it might be one of the most difficult parts of rugby, but that's one of the games being the best 31st man on the field. So give it a go.
Crowd's definitely not happy here.
Andrew Jones feeds, well taken. And now let's see what Poneke can do. They were the last team to score roughly about 5 minutes ago. Look at this. This is a charge by the backs. It looks like they're playing in the forwards. Jared Hurstich has gone down in a pile of heat, but the ball's been knocked on. What can Petone do here? They look to pass it out wide. Here they go. Leighton Tupper kicks it over the top of Carlos Sihi. It bounces. It's going to roll into the in goal. Has it got too much on it? Is it going to fall short of the dead ball line? Cam Ferreira chasing back and it's been grounded. And it's going to be a goal line dropout. So good kick there by Leighton Tupper.
That's a wonderful kick considering they were back on their 50 and it's ended up sitting perfectly in the in goal. I'd say that's a pretty successful kick by Leighton Tupper there.
2 more impending substitutions coming for Poneke. So we'll wait those as play gets back underway. Leighton Tupper receives the ball from the goal line dropout. Here's Riley Higgins. Centre field with Peter Larko has been pretty quiet. He decides to have a charge and rumbles in, but Andrew Jones is getting over the top of the ball. Is he off his feet? No, he's not. He's still there. And they've got... Well, not that time. They've been penalised. And it's been taken quickly by Cam Ferreira. They've been told to let him go. Cam Ferreira scored his 50th. Lightning Robinson
I don't think so.
Cam Ferreira potentially has scored.
I think he's held up there.
His try in his 50th game. But it was interesting. Luke Pearce very casual getting there, and so was Scott McLean. It was a quick run. Well, we're not too sure what the decision's going to be. No try.
Wow. Oh, fair enough. I think Nebachuku Donu got back there in time. But darting run by Cam Ferreira. He did the exact same run in the Hot Old Boys game last year. He scored a try eventually after that.
Well, that would have been a special try, but it's been denied. And another goal line dropout here for Poneke. Good defence there by Tonuhu Nebachuku. But they're going to have to do this goal line dropout again because Poneke were making some substitutions there. There's Charlie Saele and Abraham Matatini coming onto the field, replacing Callum Smith. And it looks like that may well be Zekio Fesso as well, but we'll confirm that soon. Peter Larkai gets the ball from the goal line dropout. Here comes to Riley Higgins on his dancing, offloads it, tries to give it out to Logan Henry. He passed that ball like he was throwing a rock. At that time, they couldn't hang on to the ball there, Petone, and so Poneke, through Moy Jenkins, flicks the ball up. Ongara, back to Nebachuku. He'll safely kick this ball into touch, and it'll be just outside the 22 line out here for the Villagers. 60 minutes gone here in this match. 36 points to 21. The home side ahead of the Street Kids. And a line out here for Petone.
I think that's Mayatima Schmidt that came off just before.
Good observation there, Matthew, identifying player that's been substituted. Ryan Emery, throw taken by Henry. Out to Clark. Centre field with Lester Mololo. Out wide to Solomon. Solomon, he's got Heaney to beat. Can he do it? Oh, this is, not that time. Forward pass is the call.
I don't think that's the right call, personally, but I might be biased.
Of course, Matthew, a Petone supporter.
I just want our boys to do well. Hey, look, I'd say that was flat, but I mean, the refs know best. All the Petone supporters down there definitely not happy with that call.
Well, of course they wouldn't be, but the officials have ruled it forward. If the pass did stay, it would have been quite a magical try there, but not to be. So a scrum for Poneke. 10 outside their own 22. 15 in from the grandstand touchline. 36 points to 21. Live here on Huddy Sports, bringing you all the Petone home games this season. As we have time off here as one of the Poneke players was wearing a necklace.
I thought that was an eye patch for a second.
Well, it's not the referees, Matthew.
They've actually been pretty good today, I must say.
Scrum's gone down on the grandstand touch line. So calls come through from Scott McLean. Forensic, as always, on that microphone is Scott McLean.
Crowd's lively here at the Petone Rec.
Very lively crowd. Let's look at this here. It's going to be a penalty against Poneke, and it's going to be Poneke penalised at scrum time. Dropping down, and decision here for Petone. Expect them to kick towards the line here. Matthew, they won't be going for a shot at goal.
Yeah, I think there's enough points on the board just for them to take the risk. But they shouldn't be too risky because Poneke is definitely a side that can come back. But yeah, big line out here. I think this, if Petone do score off this, I think that might determine the game.
Well, hold on to your seats, folks. If it's anything like last year's game, Poneke President John Jackson nearly led a pacemaker when Connor Strang scored the winning try, but the throw that time was not straight. And so Poneke will have the scrum.
I don't think Josh Southall's too happy with that call on the sideline.
Well, Josh hasn't played a game this season yet.
He'll be back in his time. Take your time, Josh.
So, Poneke penalised at scrum time. Just a matter of 2 minutes to go. Can they resurrect their faults? Better scrum by Poneke into the hands of Robson, wrapped up and secured by Petone. Stewart again, the pick and go. This is excellent work by Cole Stewart. Fiso fires the ball back to Hihi. It hasn't found touch. And Solomon, safe pair of hands, look to get those dancing feet going. And look at him go. He runs straight in, but he's going to be driven back to the turf. That time there by Tuva'a. It's going to be a penalty advantage. Another high tackle coming up, folks. Ball being knocked on there by Malolo.
Lucky we had that advantage.
So, another penalty here for Petone. 65 minutes gone, 36 points to 21. Petone ahead of Poneke here in the FJ Tillard Memorial Shield match. And the kick is just scraped in at the touchline. And it's going to be a line out on the 5x5, southern end of Poneke. Substitution of the Petone Rec. Substitution here. Mitchell Goff coming onto the field in his 18th game for Poneke. Great story about this young man. He was the head boy of Rongotai College. He made his debut back in 2018 against Old Boys University, but for the last sort of 2 to 3 years he's been riddled with injury. But it's good to see him back out there, fit and raring to go. He's also been a co-host on the Huddy Hui before. Episode with Toby Crosby last year. Let's have some score updates from around the grounds, Matthew.
Avalon extending their lead 40-14 against Wellington Axemen. I think that might be their first win of the season. And OBU still holding the lead over Maris St. Pat's 33-14. Oriental Rongotai still down 29-19 against Johnsonville. And Tawa just blowing Wainui out the park 57-3.
Poneke stealing the ball at line-out time, and their centre field with the ball. Saele wrapped up and secured 2 metres short of the 22. Ball comes back, it nearly was charged down, but excellent kick there. And it comes to, bounces in between Logan Henry and Stanley Solomon. Logan Henry having to play at fullback since coming on in the second half, but he's got himself in an awkward position. Poneke have managed to get the turnover. Excellent work, but it's going to be a penalty. And that time there, Sam Tornesi was offside. And a quick tap here by Jimmy Lee Hongara. Out to Ezekiel Fiso. He decides to put the afterburners on and charge forward. Lakai just reaches over, grabs the ball as anything is like a kid in a playground, and just laps up that ball easy as you like.
Wonderful run.
Good run there by Peter Lakai. Higgins goes for the pick and go, offloads it to Ferreira. Ferreira kicks it through, spots a gap in the defence. Chasing after it is Leighton Tupper. Tupper finds that Carlos Hihi has no choice but to drift it as a ball. They look to take it quickly, but not to be. And so it's going to be a line out for Petone on the Eastern 5x5.
Great kick by Cam Ferreira, finding space using that vision, as he does most days.
Well, he's a talented halfback, Cam Ferreira. He almost outplayed TJ Perenara in the Jubilee Cup final last year. Ryan Emery, last few throws haven't been so good. This time, a lot better. Mason Henry secures the ball. And Petone put it into quarantine. They're going to use this forward pack to great advantage. Even TJ Clark's getting in there. That's foreign territory for the fullback. Ferreira reaches in, finds Riley Higgins. And Higgins looks like he's going to be held up over the line. He is. Good defence there by Poneke. And they go for the dead ball. Oh, this is going to be an awful kick.
Wow, wonderful try.
The restart from the dead ball line, completely shanked. And Stanley Solomon has two, Matthew.
Completely ruined their chances of coming back in this game, have they? What a... don't mean to bash a guy while he's down, but what an awful kick. Like, at least wait for the players to be set up.
Well, you don't wish that upon anyone, but that time that kick wasn't that flash. And so 41 points to 21 with 11 minutes to go. Poneke really, in the last 10 minutes, Matthew, have done extremely well. But that one there can really put a rut into the momentum that they had.
Well, to be fair to the kicker, he did see the winger on the outside, but I think he just completely misjudged the timing of that kick and probably should have waited for everyone to be set up. But, I mean, it happens. It is what it is.
Conversion successful by TJ Clark. 43 points to 21 is the score, with just roughly about 10 minutes left in this match. As we have time off here, jersey 16. Afeni Aesi is coming onto the field for Petone, and he'll be replacing Ryan Emery. Another strong game for Ryan Emery in his 59th game. He's done well considering that their main hooker, Josh Salville, is yet to play a game for Petone this season. Restart by Poneke. Knock back. And Mitchell Goff secures the ball. But it was knocked on first by Poneke. And so it's going to be a scrum for Petone.
So I'm seeing Rory Woollett's coming onto the field for Cam Ferreira. Wonderful game by Cam Ferreira.
Well done to the young man in his 50th appearance for the Villagers. Denied a try. It would have been a great try if it was allowed. A good fine performance by Cam Ferreira, and replaced by a very reliable player in Rory Willett, who she played in the Curtin Raiser, the Prem Reserves. His father, Mike Double O, is the coach of the Prem Reserves, club legend at Petone. This is Rory's 8th game for the Premier side. Another product of the great school that is St Patrick's College, Silver Street. Speaking about schools, in this game, 8 players in this game come playing from Silver Street, 4 from Rongotai and Wellington College, 6 from Hutt International Boys School. So, wealth of playing talent across the region in our club rugby.
None from Bernards?
Not today, Matthew.
They're all our Hutt old boys.
Here we go. They cut them open again. Higgins chasing after it. But the Centurion, Nick Robinson, does well. He'll be happy he's got a try in his 100th game, and he's been a workhorse, has Nick Robinson, Matthew. He's really toiled hard this afternoon.
Oh, it's my first time ever actually watching him, but I think he's played exceptionally well. And obviously he's played exceptionally well for 100 games.
100 starts as well. It's a penalty here, and Poneke were off their feet at the breakdown. And Higgins quick to get that ball. TJ Clark running up quickly. As they look to kick this ball into touch. Looking to aim for that 7 5x5 grandstand touch line. Well guided kick by TJ Clark, so line out time here. Poneke looking to hold out this advance from Petone late in this match. Half time it was 29 points to 14. Here we go, the line out throw. It's been well disrupted there by Poneke, and they have to run back into their in goal to get the ball. But because they knocked it back, it's going to be a scrum for Petone. 12 in from the grandstand touch line, 5 away from the 7 try line. And let's have some score updates, Matthew.
Avalon running away with the game, 47-14 against the Wellington Axemen. OBU probably have secured the game against Mara St. Pat's, 36-14. Johnsonville still holding 10-point lead against Oriental Rongotai, 29-19. And Tara have completely just run away with the game, 57-3 against Wainuiomata.
So can the Hawks hold on at the Polo Ground?
Very surprising this year. They gave us a good run.
Here we go. Good at the base. Lakai gives it out to Woolett. He can't hang on to the ball. And he's knocked that one on. And Cole Stewart has been bundled into touch. And so some late game jitters coming into this match. Scrum here for Poneke.
Rory Woolett scored an exceptional try in the Premier 2 game just before.
Well, that was a lively game. And, of course, Petone in that Prem Reserve game only just hanging on. Poneke making a late charge. It's always a good battle between those two in the Prem Reserve grade. That was also top of the table clash as well.
Oh, the Petone Reserves, one of my favourite teams to watch, actually. Apart from the Premier team and the Colts team, the Premier Reserve, they've been on fire this year. I think this is the first time they haven't scored over 40 points on a team. But that's just because it's a class team like Poneke that can take them there.
Good scrum by Poneke. An errant hand there by Petone and justifiably penalised. Can't do that.
I thought that was just a bad pass. I didn't actually see that.
No, just a stray hand. You can't do that. So good work there by Luke Pearce. Taken by, tapped quickly by Carlos Hihi. He decides to go for the crossfield kick. And Philemoni does well. Throws the ball back into field. Chasing after it. There's Mololo. He offloads it. And it's just a bit of a scrag here at the moment. Loose ball everywhere. Good run by Filippo Sapaya. Kershaw bounces one out of the way. Rule it out to TJ Clark. Oh, wow! Great intercept here by Nick Robinson. The Centurion. Can Stanley Solomon get him? He won't. Robinson has 2 in his 100th game. Stand up and applaud. A fine performance by Nick Robinson. Running 80 metres in his 100th game. Outstanding, Matthew.
That's a wonderful intercept, and on the back of what I thought was going to be a Petone try, possibly, but yeah, just timed that run really well. And to be honest, I thought Stanley Solomon was going to catch him, but not too quick enough. Nick Robson's got some afterburners on him.
There's still some pace in those old legs. Nick Robson is also a Filipino international in rugby union. He's become the 33rd Centurion for Poneke, much to the light of his worship the Mayor, Andy Williams of Timaru. The conversion, excellent by Carlos Hihi. Makes the score now 43 points to 28. With roughly about 3 minutes to go in this match. Very lively and entertaining game. It's had everything, Matthew.
Well, yeah, it has lots of tries, lots of points, lots of back and forth, a lot of... Oh, actually, it hasn't been pretty stop and start. The ref's actually been quite good. But Carlos Hihi, he's had a very good game. He's definitely been a standout for this Poneke side.
Well, he's a talented player. He's also in the Wellington Academy, so Wellington obviously have some good eyes set on this young man. Centre field is the ball. Good charge by Saeli. Pachiku out to Robson. Poneke with a late charge here. Enterprising play. Moy Jenkins offloads it to Carlos Hihi. 9 metres inside Petone territory. Slow coming. Hongara out to Tuva'a. Peter Lakai looking to hold him up. Back now, centre field. The street kids get into their work. Hongara again. Moy Jenkins. It's been lively, the centre this afternoon. Ball with Cole Stewart.
One
workhorse and slammed by Ella Patisoki. Robson out to Hihi. Runs into Lester Mololo. Counter-ruck there from Petone. Fortunately, hand to it was knocked on. So a scrum here for Poneke with roughly about a minute and a half left. One would say victory potentially here for Poneke. Assistant referee Scott McLean has indicated roughly about 2 minutes left in this match. So with the moments remaining, let's have some score updates to close out Club Rugby, Matthew.
Avalon winning against Wellington, Axemen, 47-14, very comprehensive win. OBU beating Marist St. Pat's 41-19, good win. Johnsonville, I think they've closed it out 29-19 against Oriental Rongotai, massive win. And Tawa still leading 57-3 against Wainuiomata, beyond convincing.
Hongara out to Robson. Nipachiku gets around Riley Higgins. This is good. Here goes Hihi. They're finishing strong here, Poneke. They're a gutsy team, and they're not giving up. Goff wrestled by Larkai. Robson again, taken out to that right-hand side of the field. And Larkai, another massive hit. Him and Higgins getting the full 80 this afternoon.
Oh, but he's staying down.
Oh, I think it's just a bit of fatigue kicking in, Matthew.
You're making me nervous. It's the last thing you want to see from our class player.
Fiso looks, tries for the offload, gets over the top of the ball, but it's been knocked on again, but it's going to be a penalty though. Offside, with a big smile from referee Pearce. And referee Pearce himself, he played Premier Rugby for Marist St. Pat's in the early 2000s. Matthew Pearce. Oh, Luke Pearce, I mean.
Looks like a rugby player.
Well, he is. He's, when it's our summertime, he goes back to Spain. English teacher over there, teaching Spanish children how to speak English. He spends his winter months here and he goes back to Spain and he referees over there too, Matthew. So well-travelled referee is Luke Pearce.
I reckon he's definitely been my favourite referee this year.
And he's definitely allowed the game to flow. It's been played with great spirit. So with time virtually up on the board, let's see if Poneke can get a try. The throw has been taken by Ezekiel Fiso. They take it through to the back line. Robson, scragged to ground by Willett. Petone will be looking to not let the street kids in again. Here goes Robertson, trying to go for his third try. He's going to be brought down 4 short of the line. Here's Cole Stewart, but the ball's been thrown into touch. And it's going to be ruled a forward pass by referee Pearce. And there's still time to play. And it's going to be a scrum for Petone. So, Club Rugby continues to entertain. And it's been a thrilling day here. Old Timers Day at the Petone Recreational Ground. Good, healthy crowd here. As Petone will wrap up the Tillard Memorial Shield for 2023. There's still a game to play. And they'll be looking to try and score a try to crack 50, no doubt. Willett, TJ Clark, kicks the ball high up in the air, and that will bounce in front of Carlos Hihi. And so he's got plenty of space, acres with him in front of him, and he decides to go and have a run. Wrapped up by Mololo. Larkai, a big hit on Moy Jenkins. And here goes Caleb Robson. Really has been a good player for Poneke this afternoon. Has toiled hard, Caleb Robson, in his 55th game. An advantage here against Petone. Mitchell Goff offloads the ball out to Tuva'a. This is good work here by Poneke. They're only 6-8 away from the line. Another advantage being played here. Kershaw also being caught out there by referee Pearce. Here goes Cole Stewart, wrapped around again by Rory Willett. Hongara out to Andrew Jones, the reliable captain. Can Poneke score again and narrow this margin down to make it better for them? Robinson has been held up in the air, but remember, there's a penalty advantage here for them.
Oh, bit of cramp.
Offside. Well, he's had a great game, Nick Robinson. Bit of cramp, and that's great sportsmanship there from Mason Henry, helping out a fellow rugby player. Fiso charging forward, 6 away from the line. Robson still down in back play. But another penalty here. And it's going to be... Tried to be taken quickly there, but wasn't on the mark. Hongara. Just going to tap and let this go. And here goes Andrew Jones rushing towards the line. Has he scored? He please. But it's there with Cole Stewart. They're drawing back, and Larkai has managed to secure the ball for Petone. Has been knocked on, and that is full time. Full time here at Petone, Rick. The home side, Petone, get back on their winning ways. Winning 43 points to 28 here on Old Timers Day. And a scoreline, Matthew, that they'll be happy about.
Oh, it's a great win from Petone. Definitely a hard-fought win, though. They needed to work for that, and I think that's the exact game that Petone needed after coming back from 2 losses. But credit to Poneke, they stuck in the game, played till the very end. But Petone just too good on the day in front of the Old Timers here. So, yeah, exceptional.
Many thanks to Matthew Fisher joining the broadcast. Not bad for your first game behind the mic, Matthew, so congratulations. Many thanks to our cameraman, Dan Hicks, doing a sterling job as always. And so that is club rugby here for round 5 at the Petone Rick. The home side, Petone, winning 43 points to 28. It's been a pleasure bringing you this match this afternoon. I'm Brad Hudson. Ciao for now.